Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. We are going to go ahead and get started so we can get through the presentation and allot enough time for you all to ask your questions and get clarity on some things. So, I want to thank you all for coming this morning. We just wanted to make sure that everyone has a good understanding of our retirement plan. We know that a large contingent of our employees, a large contingent of our employee population is within range. Either they're there or they're within range to retire, and starting to get a lot of questions. My staff is starting to get a lot of questions about retirement, and we just thought that it was a good time to start to broach that conversation in regards to our retirement plan. We know that over the years it's gone through a couple of changes, and it has evolved into the plan that we currently have with GEBCorp. So many of you know Paul Bates. I really don't have to introduce him. He's been here for a while. He's been our account representative, and he is here to make a presentation to you all to answer your questions and to, one, explain how our retirement plan works, how benefits are calculated, kind of talk about the offset formula that we have inclusive of our retirement plan, and at the end we'll have a question and answer session. We want you all to feel free to make comments and ask your questions. This first presentation will be videotaped. I know that a lot of our employees can't make it, so we're going to videotape this and make sure that this information is accessible to them as well. So, Paul, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Again, thank you for coming out. We're just going to go ahead and jump into it. Okay. I clicked the one slide. What's wonderful. Frederick, why is it not moving? Why is the next slide not showing up? He told me I was okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to go old school on you. Okay.
It's up there twice for some reason.
I don't have the next slide. I'm going to go old school present.
Well, no, it's fine. There we go.
Okay. This is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about your sources of retirement income. Your pension plan from Douglas County is not going to be your only source of retirement income. We'll talk about Social Security, kind of guide you. There's a website there that I hope you've taken advantage of. If not, I'll put that up on the screen and let you take a look at it. As Frederick said earlier, we'll talk about the specifics of your defined benefit pension program. And we'll also talk about your 457 and your 401A plan. You actually have 3 plans here at Douglas County for your retirement. The defined benefit plan is the main county pension program. That's the portion that includes the offset that we'll talk about. You also have access to a 401A and 457 plan. Those are retirement savings accounts that you'll also be able to access once you terminate your employment with the county. And we'll touch on some of the state pension programs. Specifically, I see we have a lot of public safety here. There's what's called the Firefighters Pension Fund, and there's also the State Peace Officers Annuity Benefit Plan. These are state-sponsored retirement plans that hopefully you've taken advantage of if you're in a public safety position. They're very beneficial, and we'll talk about those and how you can incorporate those to your total income when it comes time for you to retire. Also, there is a tax commissioner's plan for certain employees that work in the tax commissioner's office. We'll touch on that very slightly. We'll talk about the specifics of the defined benefit plan. You should know by now how that works. Over the years, I've been given information on that, and we'll also talk about the website that we recently announced where you can go on and view every piece of information you need to know about your pension benefits online. For those who don't know, I'm available to you to sit with you in personnel for a one-on-one counseling session. Hopefully some of you are taking advantage of that. You just simply need to contact HR or myself directly to schedule an appointment with me down there. Usually I try to schedule that on the Mondays that I'm here for for a new employee orientation. I do that at 11 o'clock, and I schedule meetings before and after that. And I hopefully, when people walk out of there, they've told me they're getting a lot of good information to help them with their retirement planning. We'll talk about the offset. We'll talk about the formula of the pension plan specifically. And then we'll talk about the retirement process. As Frederick said earlier, you guys are kind of in that window or approaching that window, and I want to give you some idea of what to expect. I understand that retirement is a transition for you, and that can come with either a lot of anxiety or a little bit. And my job is to help you minimize that anxiety. You're going to be switching into something that you've been doing for the last 30 or 40 years. And my job is to give you all the information that you can get, accurate information that you can get to help you make the best decisions for you and your families. That's my job. And I think I'm pretty good at doing that. So we'll get into it. All right. Replacement ratio. When it comes time for you to retire, you are the one that's going to determine when you're going to retire. And you're going to determine if you can retire. And you really need to start with the concept of replacement ratio. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to put pen to paper. You need to work out a budget. Who right now is working on a monthly budget? Okay, good show of hands. It's doubly important that you do that when you get ready to walk into retirement. You need to figure out all your sources of retirement income, where it's going to come from, and you need to figure out what you need to get. Well, I said that in reverse. You need to figure out what your budget is, how much you're spending in retirement. Then you need to go out to all those different sources of retirement and figure out what you're going to be receiving as an income. Okay? And that's simply, it doesn't have to be a big spreadsheet. Just get yourself a legal pad and write it down. Here's what I need for my mortgage, my car, health expenses, and other issues. And I will sit with you and help you think of the things or get that conversation going in your head. And you write that down. And hopefully when you get ready to retire, you're going to figure out what that number is. You come back to me, say, okay, let's put it all together. Let's go out to the Social Security website and figure out what you're going to get as a benefit from there. Let's do an estimate on your defined benefit plan and see what you're looking at. Let's look at your 401A and 457 accounts and see where that's going to fit, because that's a lot more flexible how you can receive those funds. And for those who want a peace officer's annuity, firefighter's pension fund, they have websites too that you can go access and do estimates and figure out what you're going to receive as a monthly benefit. Then you need to talk about the tax situation. How are taxes treated when it comes to retirement income? I have what's called a Certified Retirement Planning Consultant designation, and I'm required to complete continuing education to maintain that designation. I have to stay up on top of tax laws, retirement laws, pension laws to maintain that designation. So I'm a good source for you to use and bounce ideas off of. If you're using somebody else, great. I'm not trying to replace them, but I'll just be a supplement to that for you when it comes time for you to make your decisions of retirement. Who in here believes they're not going to receive Social Security in retirement? Okay, got one honest answer. So don't worry about your Social Security, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone in this room should not worry about your Social Security. You are going to receive your Social Security benefit. Okay. Back when FDR designed the plan, it was designed to be what's called a pay-as-you-go system. They would take money from the people who are currently working and turn around and give it to the retiree, and based on a benefit formula. But with the design in mind, with a feature in mind, is to have a reserve, a trust fund. So right now, today, the trust fund has 3 times the amount of money in it that it's scheduled to pay out in benefits. But what is happening is that trust fund is starting to shrink, okay? And the reason for that is baby boomers, all of us in this room, okay? Well, most of us in this room. I wouldn't call everybody a baby boomer. Most of us in this room are retiring. You got 10,000 new retirees every day in this country, okay? New retirees. So the trust fund is starting to shrink, and what they're saying, and I'm getting this information from the actuarial report at the Social Security website, not making this up. You can go there too and find out the same information. But what they're saying is in the year 2034, the trust fund is going to be exhausted, and and the Social Security is going to have to pay out more in benefits than what they're going to be taking in income. Doesn't mean the benefit payments are going to stop. For them to stop benefit payments, they have to stop collecting Social Security taxes, okay? They have to stop taking off everybody's check. Now, not to get political, a year ago I would have said that wouldn't happen, but who knows what they're going to do these days. It's a little bit different up there on Capitol Hill. I still don't think they're going to do anything to stop or remove their take Social Security from us. There are some fixes that they can do that are pretty simple. They can extend the retirement age They can increase the taxes that they take. Right now, you're paying in 7.64% of your pay, and the employer, the county, also puts in 7.64% of your pay, and they send it to Social Security every year. Okay? That's where the money's coming from. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not an entitlement program. It's an earned benefit. You are paying for it. Okay? That Social Security money is money that you put in that trust fund. And that's money where, when you receive your check, that's where it's going to come from. It's an earned benefit. So for you not to receive Social Security benefits, they have to stop collecting Social Security taxes. Now, what may happen is if they don't make any legislative changes, they don't make the fixes that are that are being proposed today, is that there's going to be a 25% reduction in benefits starting in the year 2034. Okay? Well, yeah, you're going to get 75 cents on the dollar that you were promised. Not a great scenario. Nobody wants that, but it's still a significant amount of money. If you look at the slide here, Social Security is going to pay you anywhere between 35 to 40% of your income in retirement. That's a lot, okay? And if you believe you're not going to receive Social Security, hopefully you stuck a whole lot of money somewhere else in another account to make up that difference, okay? So it's a significant benefit. That's why I want to take you to the Social Security website and let you take a look at that here in a few minutes. You're also going to have your defined benefit plan here. You can easily see your defined benefit plan is your primary plan. It's probably going to provide you, I would say, 35 to 40, another 35 to 40% of your income in retirement. It depends on whether you did a buyback. It depends on what your total income is and how long you worked with the county also. But we'll talk about all that. But it is a solid plan. It's a guaranteed benefit for life. You cannot outlive it. And when you decide to retire, you can take a reduced amount and have money continued to a survivor. But we'll talk about the details of that also. Then we have your supplemental plans, and that's your 401A and your 457 plan. Some of you may have used that to buy back into the defined benefit plan. It's okay. It was a good idea. Some of you kept it in the investments, and hopefully that worked out for you and continues to work out for you. But that's another plan that you're going to be using or be able to use as a source of income, retirement income. And then the firefighters pension fund and the peace officers annuity, tax commissioners plan, anybody else has access to another state pension plan, depending on how that plan works, I would say at least another 20% of your income in retirement. So if you go back to those guidelines, here at Douglas County, if you pay attention to your retirement, you easily can get anywhere between the 80 to 90% income rate replacement ratio. And if you're serious about retirement, it's not too much of a leap to be able to get that 100 and 110% replacement ratio. And these are the guidelines that financial planning industry has kind of put out, saying this is what you should achieve. And with this defined benefit plan here at the county, everybody should be in the acceptable or if not desired range very easily. But you also want to pay attention to health insurance costs, but you have a retiree health insurance program here that's pretty good also. So what online tools are available? For those who have the 401A, 457, you should have seen for years the one on the left. That's your 457 and your 401A account. You can go view that on demand, look at the different investment options. You can move money from different accounts. I don't want to go too far because we'd be here for 3 days going over the investment options and how they work. But that's more if you want to go over your account, make sure that you've got money in an appropriate investment. You just need to pick up the phone and give me a call and schedule an appointment. I can do it over the phone. I don't like to. But if you're just pressed for time and just can't get away to meet me, we still can work it out where I can view your account on my computer and we can assess what investments you're using and whether that's something you should continue to do. There's also a mobile app for it for those who are into that kind of thing where you can access your account on your phone. I don't even use it. If I'm sitting down and looking at my account, I have a purpose. I'm not just going in to see, hey, I've got this X amount of dollars. I want to review it. I usually go to the Social Security website, too, take a look at that for my personal use or planning purposes. My wife makes me sit down and talk about our retirement planning at least once a month. But it's a good thing. It's something you want to discuss, and it should be an active part of your family life. On the right is the defined benefit website. And I'm going to take a little liberty here and kind of go to that website here. Take a look at it. For those, has anyone gone to the defined benefit website? All right. An email went out a couple months ago, Frederick, announcing this website. We're proud of it. It's very simple, and we did that by design. We don't want to confuse you or give you, any other information than what your benefit's going to be, because that's what you're going there to find out. But this is the website. It's just www.mypension.GEBCorp.com, and I'll put that up on the screen here in a few minutes. But when you go to the website, we're not going to issue you a PIN number at this website. You just go to that website, and you're going to click on Site Registration, and you just put in your own information. And you're going to create your own username and password. And once you do that, you're going to have access to your data on there. And let me go in here, give me a few moments just to go in and log in, and I'm going to show you a test case of what you're going to be able to see and what you're going to be able to do. Oh, I wasn't typing anything. Wonderful. Now, what you're looking at, this is how I go into the plan. So what I'm going to do is just show you a test case out of another county. You're not? Okay. All right. Well, wonderful. Where's my IT guy? So all you're seeing is PowerPoint? Okay. Wonderful. All right.
It's two screens.
Okay.
Essentially. So what I'm going to do is kill that. And it has to be over on the other screen.
We could. Okay. So I got to look at that one. Okay.
Yep. And then when you're ready to go back, let me know.
Okay. That's where I want to turn around. So. Guess that's why I have practice. Where's Liberty? My glasses. They're not working. Frederick, where's Liberty? Yeah. One more down? That one right there? Up? All right. Okay. Okay. This is going to work out well. Okay. We're going to make this quick. Well, my test case didn't come up there. That's where Okay. Okay. It's just a test case. When you log in, you can, first thing you do is check your data. And what I mean by that is your information. You want to check your Social Security number, your date of birth is in your personal data. Just make sure that's correct. That's important because date of birth is very key to when you can start to receive your benefits and the amount that you're going to receive, because it all ties back in to the plan document. If there's ever anything that needs to be corrected when you log in, you simply need to contact your HR office. Notify them that I have, the date of birth was off by a year or a month. Contact Cindy Harper. She'll go back and verify it. She'll send us correspondence via email, and we make the correction in the database. That's it. Okay? It's not a big, drawn-out process. Don't worry if there's something wrong. Just get it corrected. And you want to do this now, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want to wait to the day that you're retiring or with your 30 days, because things happen. Administratively, things need to happen. And so if you do this now, get it corrected. Once it's corrected in the database, it can't be changed or undone. Okay? So that's one area you want to check. You also want to check your employment history. Again, if you believe there was a part-time service or your date of hire is incorrect or off by a year, again, that affects what you receive as a dollar amount from the plan. You're going to want to look at that again. Same process, corrected process, just contact personnel. They'll verify the information and get it corrected for us. And then salary and contribution history. This is where you can see that salaries have been reported on your behalf to calculate your benefit. The amount of money, that 5% pre-tax contribution you're putting into the plan, we show you that with and without interest. It's all right there, okay? There's a little bit of lag time. Once you get paid, it's not going to show up immediately. Generally, once you get paid, it's about a 2-week lag time before it actually shows up on the website. Nothing to worry about there. You need to understand the interest that is credited on your contributions is only credited once a year, once a calendar year. It's only done at the end of each calendar year. This is a pension program. It's not a retirement it's not a savings account. It's a pension program. So interest is, because the plan is valued every once a year, interest is only credited once a year. Then there should be some other ancillary information in that same section. If you had some additional employee information, I couldn't imagine what would go there. There's always a scenario when you're looking at large groups of people. There was some kind of incident. You left, came back, and you took out your contributions, and then you put them back. That may go into that section right there. The heart of the matter is, next over, this is where you can see your actual benefit information. So the first thing is what's called a benefit summary, or we like to call what's called a benefit statement. All we're doing here is taking a snapshot of that day of what you have as accrued as a benefit. So on the top line is your current age, years of vested service and credited service. That could be different. If you came to work at the county as a part-time employee first and then went to full-time, you'll see more vesting service than you will credited service, because credited service is the number of years that's going to be used to actually calculate your benefit. Vesting service is just service that makes you eligible for benefits, okay? Credited service is only full-time service, excuse me. Credited service is only full-time service. You do get credit for vesting and eligibility for part-time service, but that service will not be used to calculate your benefit, okay? That's why a lot of you may see numbers a little bit different there. And then you can see your accrued monthly benefit. That's the day. On that day, you accrued that dollar amount toward normal retirement. So what that means, if you had left service with the county on that day, that monthly amount is payable to you once you reach normal retirement. And under your plan, normal retirement is age 65. Okay? Then the next lines, if you have the unreduced, the rule of 80, that'll show you the date that that's going to happen. And if you work continuously, it'll show you what your monthly benefit's going to be there. If you work continuously with the county and the day that that's going to happen. So you don't have to calculate anything. Then if we go over to, we're going to run an estimate real quick. This is, if you want to look at a specific day in the future, what your retirement benefit's going to look like. Come in, there's this disclaimer. This is just an estimate. Your benefit will be finalized at your actual termination date. So what you need to understand is you are running benefit estimates, okay? We're not going to know what your final benefit is until you clear the payroll system. And that's at that time that GEBCorp gets all the final information from the county, and that's the date that we finalize benefits. This is the best estimate anybody can give you, okay? Because we're trying to look into the future to see what you get. So what you're going to do, like I said earlier, you elect a termination date. And for ease of estimate, I'm just going to make both of these age 65. So I'll put it there. And you also, if you want it to illustrate the survivor benefits that are available, you simply need to put in the date of birth of the person that you're going to name as a survivor. Oh, 55? Okay. Are both of them 55? Okay. Well, that's okay. Well, I better put 65. That's 65?
Yeah, they changed.
Huh? I'm using, are those both 65?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're just going to leave that there. Okay. And then somebody's home. And it's going to ask for a spouse, whether the person you name is a spouse or a non-spouse. Reason for that is because if it is a non-spouse, the IRS limits the available survivorship options for non-spouse beneficiaries. Okay, that's why we have to ask. You won't have to calculate anything. Don't worry about it because it's going to spit back. If you put a non-spouse, it'll come back on the estimate that there are certain IRS limitations, and then these options would not be available. So it takes, depending on the speed of your internet, it takes a few minutes. What I like to do, all that information is right there. I like to come up and print the PDF because there's some other additional information on there that's not showing on the screen. And you got yourself an estimate. If you look at the gray box, that's the area where you're looking at the numbers, the monthly benefits that are available. And these are all the different payment options. You have what's called a life with a life only that pays the employee, the maximum amount that you're eligible to receive based on your salary history and your service, and that pays you for as long as you live. When you pass, payments stop, whether you get payments for 1 year or 100 years. That's the maximum amount. So that's the highest dollar amount you'll be able to receive there. If you take a reduced amount, you can take what's called a life with a 10-year or 20-year certain. What that means, if you take the life with a 10-year certain, what you're doing there is you're guaranteeing that the payment stays on for a minimum of 10 years, whether you live or die. If you get payments for 8 years and you pass, whomever you name the survivor gets payments for 2 years, then it stops. But as long as you're living, you've lived past the 10 years, you still continue to receive the benefit, but when you pass, survivor doesn't receive anything. Not the best options in the world, but they may fit your scenario. So you got to coordinate benefits with you and your spouse. Then you have the survivorship options where you can leave your beneficiary 100%, 75%, 2/3, or half of what you receive as a benefit. The more you leave them, the more that reduces what you receive as a benefit. But those are 2 lifetime payments. You'll get your payment for as long as you live, and if a survivor is still with us, they contact us, give us a copy of the death certificate, and we switch the benefit into their name and adjust it if there's an adjustment necessary. And they get paid for the rest of their life. In addition to all this, ladies and gentlemen, you also, if you retire, if you start to draw your benefit within 30 days of separation with the county, you will also receive a $15,000 death benefit. Okay, so on your first pension check, you'll get a certificate showing you have a $15,000 death benefit. It pays out a lump sum when you pass away in retirement to your beneficiaries. It's permanent, and you don't pay any premium toward it. It's already paid for inside the plan. Okay, but you'll get a certificate showing you have that coverage. So that's just a quick estimate, show you how the website works. You just go there and register. As I said earlier, oh man, I said this too. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to switch.
I'm going to change it so that it's it'll just duplicate.
You're making me learn the new machine. Make me learn how to ride a bike in front of you.
All right.
That'll work. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. As I said earlier, this is the website that you want to go to register and view that. Please do it. We spend a lot of time and effort getting this up. If you have recommendations, please, we want to hear your feedback. Again, it's scaled down, simple as possible. If you think you'd like something else on it, please let us know. And if it's doable, it makes sense, we'll work with our programmers to get that done. Okay? Yes, please. Right. That's the previous website. Yeah, that's this website. It's just GEBCorp.com. We did, to address your issue, we did have before a single website. And that was where you could view your 401A, your 457. You could also toggle over to view your defined benefit information. There were too many limitations on the defined benefit side of that website, so we just basically had to go out. And so that's the reason that you have two different websites now. So you still have the old website where you can view your 401A, 457 account. You'll just have to go register to view your defined benefit on this new website. Yeah, if you don't have a PIN number, is that the issue? We did a couple years back, we had to go through a re-authentication process, and we had to basically have everybody redo their PIN numbers. It's for security reasons. You know, everybody knows what's going on. So we had to lengthen and strengthen the required PIN number. So if you didn't do that, and yeah, it's been locked, it's fine. Just, yeah, give our office a call. They'll have to mail you a PIN number in regular mail. And when you do that, what I'm going to ask you to do is when you first log on, you basically want to register that. This is the defined contribution website now. There's called question and answers. Go ahead and get that registered. Just create your own question and answer. So if you lose or forget your PIN number, you can just re-authenticate via email. You know, when you go to all these other websites, you feel like you're hacking in every time to your own stuff. But if you have to do that question and answer before you'll be able to do that. Otherwise, you got to keep calling us to get a new PIN number, which I know you don't want to do. Yes? No. The question is once you choose a survivorship option, that is irrevocable. The reason for that is because at the time that you elect that, there's an actuarial calculation that takes into account time value of money that cannot be undone. Okay? So, yes, so in the event of divorce or anything, the option that you chose when you retired is the option you still have. You cannot change who you want to receive the money for survivorship options. Now, what you can do is on the on the post-retirement death benefit, that $15,000, you can change beneficiaries on that even after retirement because there's no actuarial calculation done. It's just $15,000, and that's that. 15, 1-5, $15,000 death benefit. Okay, good questions. On the survivorship options, what I didn't cover, also on the survivorship options, not only do you have the option to choose the amount that you can leave to the survivor, 100%, 75, 2/3, or half, you can also choose a feature called pop-up. And what that means in your scenario is if you elected a survivor and they pass away before you do, you would notify us. And if you elected the pop-up option at the time of retirement, we would pop your benefit back up to whatever the life-only option would be. So you wouldn't have to live with that reduction for the rest of your life. But that is an option that's available, but you have to, again, elect that at the time of retirement, and that also shows on the estimate that we put up there. Yes? No. Yeah, the survivorship option is only going to be payable. It has somebody that was listed at the time of retirement has to be alive. Otherwise, nothing's paid out. That's correct. Yeah. Now, the $15,000, the 1-5, will be paid out to your estate. In addition, excuse me, let me back up. In addition, is if the amount that you've made in contributions has not been paid out, that will be paid out to your estate at the same rate in monthly allotments as whatever your retirement was. Correct. Okay? Just to be technical. All right. The question is if you elected a joint survivor option and the retiree and the survivor pass at the same time, what gets paid out? In that scenario, what would be paid out to the estate absent of any listed beneficiaries, the $15,000 lump sum would be paid out to the estate. And if at the time of death, the employee's contributions had not been fully paid back in the form of benefits, the plan would pay out in the same monthly amount until that number was reached. Okay? Basically, you get back all your contributions. But again, you can't take it with you. It's illegal to put money in a casket. It just can be paid out to your estate. Thank you. Someone appreciated the joke. All right. All right. And here on the defined contribution website, these are the things you can do. View your account balance, change investment options, change beneficiaries, change address. You cannot change your contribution amount to the 457 online. Okay? That's a local payroll function. If you need to do that, Cindy, raise your hand. Contact me. Rakes. Rakestraw. Okay. Contact Cindy down at HR. There's a form she needs you to sign. If you want to do that, just put your name, social, what you want to change your contribution amount to, sign a date, and then on the next possible paycheck, they'll make that change. We also have some other retirement planning tools online. If you're okay with that, I encourage you to take a look at those. Also, just help you, there's some budgeting tools up there. And again, when I say budgeting, don't be put off by that. It's just a matter of really, it's a back of the napkin type of budget. And you just really need to see what the number is going to be. And again, what you can do on the defined benefit website there. Social Security website, I'm going to not go there right now, but I encourage you to do that. They have a site registration just like we did. We kind of modeled it after that. You go to the website and you go register. You create your own username, your password, and PIN number. But on there too, you can do estimates. You need to see what you're going to receive from Social Security. Everybody's eligible to receive Social Security as early as age 62. And if that's the difference between you retiring or not, I really have no problem with anybody collecting early Social Security benefits. It's okay. Just be aware that if you wait, the benefit amount does go up. Everyone needs to know what their full retirement age is deemed under Social Security. Everyone's full retirement age under Social Security is not the same. It depends on your year of birth. Okay? You need to know what that is. And also, if you wait to turn Social Security on past your full retirement age, your Social Security benefit will automatically increase by 8% all the way up until the age of 70. Okay? Nobody should wait past age 70 to collect Social Security benefits. Okay? So go take a look at that. There's some rules, stuff that they can put online. It's a wonderful website. I know a lot of people I've talked to, they go visit Social Security Administration, and you got to wait all day. You can apply for your benefits online. You can get estimates online. You can read up on all the other information. Disability benefits, spousal benefits, survivor benefits are very important. One thing I do want to put out there, I talk to a lot of people, early Social Security benefits. If you're collecting early Social Security benefits, which is a benefit anytime before your full retirement age, Social Security will apply and if you continue to work, Social Security will apply what's called an earnings test. And that trips a lot of people up. I've seen people lose homes because of it. What happens is if you're still working, getting earned income, a paycheck from somewhere, and you collect your Social Security benefits early, that all gets reported at the end of the year to Social Security. There may be a time that the following year, your Social Security benefits stop and you don't know why. It's because what happens is the earnings test got applied, and this year, it's if you make over 18-something a year, they're going to stop your benefit. Okay, there's a formula that they use. And that only applies, so you got to be careful if you're going to collect Social Security early, if you're going to keep working, you need to keep your earned income under a certain threshold. If you don't need it, I wouldn't even take it because you can get tripped up real bad. Okay, so there's a thing called the earnings test on Social Security that you need to be aware of. All right. State pension plans, peace officers annuity, you got just Google POAB. You can go do estimates, and hopefully you've been in it for years. Firefighters pension fund, the same thing. Google that. You can go run estimates. I sit in that office down there with personnel and go to the website and run these estimates for people. And we go to Social Security, we go to firefighters pension plan together and sit down and figure out, cipher all what that information means. Tax commissioner's plan, I don't have access to, but I encourage people to contact the state if you have access to that and get your estimates. I would go ahead and just get an estimate now if you haven't got one. They should be able to do that for you. And some other state court employees, you have access to the state pension plan for state employees also. For some of your income, not paid to you by the county, is covered under the state.
Just real quick, we do have a representative from Social Security to come here and talk with us. I think some of you have been to that presentation. Alicia Lipscomb comes out on an annual basis. We're going to start having her to come twice a year to kind of go through that Social Security benefit with you. I sent out an email that will explain the process for developing an account with Social Security, much like what Paul has just went through with GEBCorp's new website. Social Security has that available to us as well. So you go on, you log in, you develop you an account with Social Security, and it's weird because you can see all of the dollars that you've made since your first job in high school. You know, they have all of that information on there. They have all of that information on there for you, and I will resend that email for you just so you'll see how to develop that account. I'll send that out today, and you can go on there and develop you or create you an account rather, and see all of that information. So just wanted to make that announcement that Alicia Lipscomb, she'll be coming in the next couple of months, and we'll make sure your departments are aware of it.
Okay. All right, as promised, we're going to talk about the defined benefit plan here at the county. It depends on your date of hire. The plan was implemented back in 2006. And so what I'm going to do is the easy part first. So all your service after 1106, the benefit formula is pretty simple. Simply stated, you get 2.5% of your pay for each year of service with the county. Okay? That's from 1106 forward. Okay? What we do is we take your highest consecutive 60 months of pay out of the last 120 months of pay. Now, it's important. That's the reason why I highlighted that word consecutive. It's not always your last 5 years. Okay? In some scenarios, people just made less money. A million things can happen. But it's the highest consecutive. So our programming is set up that way. And it calculates that average, and it plugs it in times years of service times 2.5%. And as you see, normal retirement under the plan is age 65. Also, there's a reduced early retirement that's available. You could take it at age 55, provided you have at least 10 years of service. What you need to understand there is there's an actual reduction in your benefit. If you go run an estimate and you want to look and you're following that scenario, it'll show you what the reduction is, where it's a 23% or 14% reduction. It'll show you right there on the piece of paper, just so you're aware of it. There's also the rule of 80, I'm sure everybody's familiar with. That's when your age plus years of service equal 80 points. You also have to be a minimum age 55 to take an unreduced early retirement under the rule of 80. Okay? So two requirements there, minimum age 55, age of service, age plus years of service equal 80. You can take an unreduced early retirement. And again, when you go run an estimate, that rule of 80, the date that that's going to happen for you is right there. So you won't have to project out, try to figure out the day that that's going to happen. As long as you work through that day, you'll qualify for the unreduced early retirement. Now, we get into the offset. Now, for all your service prior to 1106, there is a little bit of a different, there's what's called the offset, okay? So your service after 1106, we calculate that, then we add the service prior, and we institute what are called offsets. In summary, this is what happened, okay? And I know it was a bit confusing for a lot of people back then, and that's all said and done. Not something that can be undone. What I'm trying to do right now here is just explain to you what was going on. Before this defined benefit plan was put in place, you guys had a matching plan with VALIC, right? You put in 6, the county put in 6. What they did was they took those accounts and they projected them out, and they created a future value, a future account balance. And they said if you earn a certain amount of rate of return and work a certain number of years, this is how much is going to be in that account. They did that for everybody. They used the same interest rate and projected it out. Then they took that account balance and they did what's called annuitized it. And they said that account balance will provide X dollars a month for life in a lifetime annuity, okay? And then they created what's called an offset. They converted that monthly amount, that annuity, into what are called units. It's an actuarial calculation that the actuary did at that time, okay? And then they came to you with a piece of paper and said, here's how many units you have. This is what it would cost you if you elect to buy back or pay down those units with your 401A account. Some of you elected to do that. Some of you didn't like it, and you kept your money in your 401A. That's all done. Any estimate that you run on our website already incorporates the buyback, okay? If you did buy back, and if you still have offset units in there, it's calculating those offset units. Those offset units are still being charged interest, okay? And it calculates the interest on those offset units all the way to whatever you elect as a retirement date. It's happening already in the system, programmed, okay? For those who want to know, here is the formula. It's very complex, ladies and gentlemen. And for those who want, I can sit down with you, but in terms of this meeting right now, it would be a little complicated. It's a very complex actuarial calculation that was done to determine the buyback units at the time, back in 06, okay? But my idea is to give you the summary of what it's a 2-page formula. And if you want to go over it, I will go over it with you, but here's what you need to know, okay? And you had the option to buy down those units. Okay, that was the idea behind it. The idea, the philosophy is the county didn't want to pay for 2 retirement plans for you. And had they not made you buy into one or the other, they would have provided 2 retirement plans for you for all your past service. That was the philosophy behind it, okay? But that's all said and done, and it's all incorporated in the programming right now. So if you have offset units, it's fine. There's no other account that's going to come and create or take away those offset units in the future when you retire. The only thing that you're going to have is you're going to get a monthly income from the defined benefit plan, and if you have a 401A and 457, you can use those appropriately. Outside of that, from the county, there are no other accounts where money's going to come from, okay? Everybody clear on that? All right. Okay. Yes?
Before you had the defined benefit plan provision,
Mm-hmm.
employees hired after 1/1/2006.
Yes?
And then what was it? Did I miss something on employees hired before?
Well, no. Right here is, yeah. Okay. This will all be on the website. I mean, the county website. You'll be able to pull this. But there you go. It was just employees hired prior to 1/1/06. You have 2 components to your defined benefit. You got service after 1/1/06, which is easy to calculate, and service prior to that, which incorporates offset units. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's talk about the retirement process. First of all, you determine your retirement date. Okay, you do. What you want to do is, there's no set rule. If you want to give yourself enough lead time, you need to probably pick up the phone and give me a call 45 days before your termination date, so that I can sit with you, go over that estimate, make sure you clearly understand it, and then I will sit with you and go over all these forms, okay, because there's a retirement application that you need to complete. And I'll sit down there in the personnel office with you. First, you fill out a notice of retirement. It's a pretty basic form. That's the form where you will indicate if you want to take a survivor option or not. Joint survivor 100%, whether you're going to do the 75% or not, and you're going to list your beneficiary. Simple form. There's also a form, what's called a bona fide termination acknowledgement. Okay, this is relatively new. And what this says is that you acknowledge and the county acknowledges that you are not conducting what's called sham retirement, where you're going to apply for your benefits and you already have a prearranged agreement to come back and work for the county in some other capacity. Okay? That ends, ladies and gentlemen. And I know we all know of scenarios, but that's coming to an end. The reason is the IRS will come audit the plan from time to time. They will look at are we having bona fide terminations or are we having sham retirements? Okay? This does not mean that you cannot come back to work for the county. You can come back to work for the county. You just have to go through the regular hiring process, and you can have a prearranged agreement to come back to the county. Okay? they're going to look at, what they look at is, did the person retire under full retirement at 65 or later, or did they take an early retirement? What was the length of time that they were gone? Was there a prearranged agreement that they were going to come back to the job in 6 months or 6 weeks? Okay, they're going to look at those things, and the county's going to have to answer for it. And we had one county in our membership that was abusing it. We had about 10 people, and we were like, this is not doable. I mean, they were retiring, and then a week later, they would come back to work for the county. That's unacceptable according to IRS regulation. Okay? So what you will have to sign now is what's called a bona fide termination. You'll read the form. If you're ready to retire, I don't suspect you'll have too much of an issue with that. Sign that form. We'll also do a direct deposit, and checks are required to be paid out to you via direct deposit. Yes.
That point that you just made, I kind of want to clarify or at least expound on that, because that is a point of contention with our employees, that they want to retire and then come back in a part-time capacity. And when we tell them that there are some IRS regulations that prohibit that, we kind of go into a long, drawn-out conversation, a spirited conversation, if you would, in regards to that. So I just want to clarify that point, that it's not the county. It is the IRS that that governs our retirement plan and the provisions thereof, that frowns upon that. So it's not anything that we're looking we look down upon. We would actually like to have experienced employees and have that wealth of knowledge that they have to come back in a part-time capacity to continue that institutional knowledge, if you would. But I just want to reiterate that that is an IRS regulation that prohibits us from doing so.
No, it's a fiduciary responsibility on the plan. The IRS can terminate a pension plan, and everyone in this room doesn't want that. Yeah, it's to protect the plan. That's what it is. Make sure it's operated within compliance. Not only could it shut down a plan, they probably first start with fines that nobody wants to pay, and if it becomes too egregious, they'll just shut it down. And we don't want that. Is there a question over here? Okay. So we'll do a direct deposit form. Again, pension checks, defined benefit checks, required to be paid to you via direct deposit. That check is going to come from the ACCG Pension Trust. It is not going to be a Douglas County check. Okay, so that's why you got to do it direct deposit, coming from a different source. Okay. You also fill out a tax withholding election form. On that form, you can elect not to have taxes withheld at all. We're only going to withhold federal and state taxes. No Social Security taxes are going to be withheld from your check. It's not earned income. Okay, so you're going to keep a lot more of your income when you switch to this. You can elect to have us withhold based on the withholding tables, where you can say, hey, I want to declare, married with 2 exemptions or single with 1, however you want to do that. Or you could tell us to withhold a specific dollar amount or a specific percentage. You could change that withholding at any time. You just need to get another form from us and submit it, and we'll make it change on your check. And if you need to decide what you're going to want to do with your 401A and your 457 accounts. And I will counsel you on that also. So we'll pull that up, talk about what you need it to do. If you want to let it sit, use it as a discretionary account, you can do that. If you want to roll it over to an IRA, you can do that. If you want to set up a monthly income from that account on top of what you get from the pension check, you certainly can do that also. It's your account. It's very flexible. You just need to figure out what you want to do with it. Remember now, money comes out of that 401A. It's taxable also. So just, you may be thinking you got, $80,000 in there. You want to take a lump sum. I'm going to try to advise you against that, unless you have something specific you want to do. That's $80,000 in additional income that's going to bump up your taxes for no good reason. You just wanted your hands on your money. So if you want to get a bass boat, fine. I would probably encourage you to go get a loan. Interest rates, if you can, get it real low and just pay for it with that money. Pay it down. But that's a whole discussion between you and I. Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. Remember, as I said earlier, you have to clear the payroll system before Cindy and Frederick can sign off on the paperwork because they got to get some final information. And then what they do is they sign up, give us the information on those exact forms that you're filling out. They electronically upload that to our admin office for processing. So it depends on what your retirement date's going to be. Generally, you're going to get your first check within 30 days, generally. Sometimes it could take 45 days if there's some administrative issues. And it also depends on the date that you retire. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had so many conversations. Don't worry about the end of pay periods, all that stuff, or closing periods. Don't worry about all that. What you really need to determine, the best day to retire is like very close to the end of a month, the last week of a month, or no later than the first of the following month. And the reason is because if you retire on the 1st of May, so to speak, you are due a pension check for that May. If you retire on the 2nd of May, your pension check is not due till June 1st. What's after? Till June 1st, okay? So you basically, you retired a month and you missed a month of payments. Now, you may not get that check on the 1st of May. You won't. It'll come on June 1st, but you'll get 2 payments to get you caught up from what you do, okay? So on initial pension payments, we make those payments on the 1st and possibly on the 15th of the month because we understand people are transitioning. But from thereafter, they're going to come on the 1st of the month thereafter, direct deposit. Okay? And it's once a month. No more biweekly, ladies and gentlemen. It's another thing you got to get used to. And that's why you got a budget. Okay? All right. So, good questions. Hopefully we gave you some insight on the offset. It was a complicated calculation at the time it was developed. And you were given the information at that time. There's no talk of changing it. It's basically something that's in the plan. It's permanent. It can't be undone. I wanted to give you the philosophy behind it and just give you the summary of what really happened there. And hopefully you saw that in the presentation. So with that, any other questions? Yes.
Is our pension plan one that affects the Social Security payment?
No. Good. Thank you. Remember now, Social Security is taxable, okay? And your income from the pension plan does determine the taxability of your Social Security payment, but everybody gets 15% of your Social Security benefit tax-free. Only 85% of your Social Security benefit is even taxable at all, okay? So to be clear on your question, what you're receiving from the pension program is not earned income. So Social Security is not going to apply any earnings test to what you receive from Social Security. They will use it for taxability purposes, though. But that's when you file your taxes and it all shakes out when you file, okay? Yes? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, we have to do that. I'll tell you, best estimate anybody can do. It is in there. Anything else? Yes? Come on up.
It would depend on your years of service, where you would fall. We have some categories for our retirees as far as insurance is concerned. So if you meet that rule of 80, a different set of rules would apply to you as far as insurance is concerned. But then if you age 55 and you have 25 years of service, that will be a separate plan. If you age 55 and I think it's 30 years of service, a separate benefit category would apply. So,
I think Marie's got that form.
Well, it would be 55, as long as you meet that rule of 80, years of service and age. But we can talk about that. It's various categories, so it's hard for me to answer that right here. So if if I can see you in my office, I can tell you what those categories are and what you would be eligible for. Okay? Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Would I need to meet with you pertaining to the 1,200 hours sick leave?
Yes, sir.
That would be addition to my retirement.
Yes, sir.
So I need to meet with
Yes, sir. That sick leave retirement bonus would be something that we can talk about as well. Yes, Monica?
I would like to know about the sick leave thing also. Because we got that email a couple of years ago before you were here, and I really never understood it about how that affects our monthly check. Those who were here before 2000.
Two things. One, if you do qualify for retiree health insurance and there is a premium due, that premium will be deducted from your pension check and automatically paid through that way. That's a great thing. You do want that. If you go on vacation, you don't have to worry about paying a premium. The sick leave incentive, if you qualify for it, just contact myself or Cindy, and Cindy will run the estimate. If you pick a retirement date, she will run an estimate to calculate out what that lump sum amount of money will be. Now, what happens is, if at the time that you terminate, you are paid out that sick leave incentive prior to what year? Thank you. Thank you. That amount of money will be applied toward the calculation of your pension benefit. Where it's going to come into play is in the calculation of your final average monthly compensation. Okay, it's basically you're going to get one huge, large lump sum in a single month, and so we take that because of what the plan documents state. We calculate your final average monthly compensation using that number. Generally bumps up pension payments, spikes pension payments pretty good. Yes, yes, it's set and it's going to sunset on the date that you gave me. I understand. I completely understand. Yes, sir. Yeah, you are required to put in 11% of that check, but it's still applied towards your pension. Yeah. It's a cost issue. To get into it, if you think about this, you're getting a huge lump sum increase. You're getting a huge increase in your pension benefit at the end of a career. This pension plan was put in place so that the county could project out and control the costs. When you get that spike, they didn't know that it was coming. The actuaries didn't know, and they haven't told the county over the years, hey, you got to prepare for this. It was a design issue. So if you wanted to keep it, it had to get you to contribute more on your end. I got one. Our job is to help maintain the integrity of this plan. I think everyone in this room would agree we want long-term viability for this retirement plan. Thank you for that. Yes, sir.
So I have a calculation, highest consecutive months, 60 months.
Correct.
Or the last 120 months.
Out of the last 120.
Out of the last.
Right. We back up from whatever date you elect to retire, back up the last 10 years, get all that salary, and then it searches for the highest consecutive.
So the majority of the money I put in was over 5 years ago, and now I left it because I went to another retirement program, the state program. But now I've gone back into GEBCorp for this defined benefit because I'm maxing out of the other retirement program. So essentially, most of the money I put in was the first 6 years I was employed there, so the full-time employee. But now that I'm working this long, I'm retirement, but I'm maxed out in that retirement with the county pays me, so
I understand where you're going. Yeah. Well, when you say hurt, I don't know what that word means, but I can tell you this. Once you receive your dollar amount and your benefit reaches a certain level and you're vested, regardless of what happens with your future salary, that benefit can never go down. Okay? I understand what you're saying. If you want to talk individually, we can do that. I get completely what you're saying. You paid a higher salary previously and more benefit. Now your salary is lower, you're paying less, but what happens to your benefit? Your benefit doesn't go down. I got you. Right. But also look at your benefit. That didn't, it should, if it did, you need to tell me. It won't go down from your previous salary. Had some other questions. Yes, Lynn. I'm not sure on the question.
No. No, not at this time. We're still talking that through. Yeah.
I have another question. See some hands, some scratching heads. All right. Well, I hope you got some good information, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm available to you for individual consultation. Thank you for your time.